I want to start with something personal, not because this video is about my past, but because it explains something that a lot of Type A women experience and don't have the language for. For many years, I lived inside very tight constraints. Everything in the home needed to be done a certain way, not because it was healthy or reasonable, but because deviation came with consequences, emotional outbursts, verbal berating, instability. So I adapted. I learned the system, I learned the triggers, I learned how to operate inside the box to keep myself and the kids safe. And because I'm a Type A hustler, and I got very good at it.
What's important here isn't the marriage itself. It's what happens when a capable, driven woman learns to survive inside extreme structure. Because when you spend years functioning inside tight rules, your nervous system adjusts. You become efficient inside constraints. You learn how to perform, manage, and anticipate. And that skill set works until the constraints disappear.
After I got a divorce, my kids and I experienced something that surprised me more than the control ever did. Almost total freedom. No rigid rules, no explosions to manage, no invisible lines to stay inside. And instead of feeling relieved, I felt disoriented.
That reaction makes sense. Freedom isn't automatically calming, especially for Type A women. When structure disappears overnight, your brain doesn't experience freedom as peace. It experiences it as uncertainty.
I was so used to operating inside a system that once it was gone, I didn't know how to function without one. Not because I wanted control, but because my nervous system was used to rules, expectations, and guardrails. And this is where a lot of Type A women get confused.
They think they want freedom, more flexibility, more space, fewer constraints. But when they actually get it, whether in business, relationships, or life, it feels unsettling instead of satisfying.
Here's the reframe. Type A women don't thrive in chaos or in rigidity. They thrive in design structures. When structure is externally imposed, you learn how to survive inside of it. But when structure disappears completely, your brain scrambles to recreate it, often in unhealthy ways.
And this is where archetype matters, because each Type A pattern responds to freedom differently.
Hustlers experience freedom as a vacuum. With no external pressure, they create internal pressure. In business, you finally have flexibility and suddenly you're working more than ever. You fill the space with effort because effort feels stabilizing. And in life, you stay busy even when you don't need to be because stillness feels unsafe.
Hustlers don't need less freedom. They need direction inside freedom. Overplanners experience freedom as too many options. Without rules, everything becomes a decision. In business, with full autonomy, they try to optimize every choice. Tools, schedules, strategies. And in life, they overthink how they should be using their time instead of actually enjoying it.
Overplanners don't need fewer choices. They need pre-decided constraints. Avoiders experience freedom as emotional exposure. In business, without structure, they disengage because nothing feels anchored. And in life, they pull back because freedom feels fragile and overwhelming.
Avoiders don't need pressure. They need clear containers that make engagement feel safe. This is the shift that changes everything. Replace freedom with designed autonomy. Freedom without structure creates anxiety. Structure without choice creates resentment. Designed autonomy gives you both.
That means you choose the rules now. Not because you need control, but because your brain needs clarity. So here's what this looks like practically. In business, instead of saying, I can work whenever, you decide, these are my working hours this season. Instead of saying, I can pursue anything, you decide, these are the only goals that count this quarter.
And in life, instead of, we're totally flexible now, you decide, these are our non-negotiables as a family. Instead of, I should enjoy this freedom, you say, this is how I want my days to feel. When autonomy is designed, freedom stops feeling stressful. You're no longer reacting, you're choosing.
That was the missing piece for me. I didn't need more freedom. I needed more self-directed structure. Once I built that, life stopped feeling unstable and started feeling expansive. If freedom feels heavier than you expected, nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is just waiting for structure you haven't chosen yet.
And how you respond to freedom depends entirely on your Type A pattern.
If you want to understand how your archetype responds to autonomy and how to design structure that actually supports you, start with the Type A quiz.